Hello everyone. So let's begin for today's class, and let's continue with this chapter number 4, A Truly Beautiful Mind. Before we begin, let's recall what we have read till now. We read that Albert Einstein was born on 14th March, and then how everybody thought that he was a freak. He couldn't do anything in life, and how he started speaking only after the age of 2.5. And when he spoke his first words, that the soup was too hot, the parents were taken aback, and when they asked that why didn't you speak till now, he said, since everything was in order, I didn't need to. And then we learn about how he moved on to another city for his higher studies, and then he gets married. Since his marriage was not going well, so it ended into a divorce, and then he remarried. And then at the age of 21, he had got a job also at the patent office, where his desk drawer was called the Bureau of Theoretical Physics. Why? Because he used to keep all his theories in that desk. He was working on a theory secretly, but nobody knew about it. So whatever papers were there related to his theory were there in that drawer. Then he came up with his theory of relativity, which shook the world, and it changed the meaning of gravity for everyone. The perception about gravity was changed when general theory of relativity came, and it was proven also. So the newspapers proclaimed his work as a scientific revolution, and then he was lauded by a lot of prizes. He was lauded by the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921, and he was invited all over the world by a lot of universities and people to give speeches. Okay, continue to page number 49, stanza 14. When the Nazis came to power in Germany in 1933, Einstein emigrated to the United States. Emigrated is to move to another country permanently. So when Nazis, that means when Hitler had come to power in Germany, it was a dictatorship rule. Okay, he had become a dictator there. So 5 years later, the discovery of nuclear fission in Berlin had American physicists in an uproar. Berlin is Germany's capital. So when Germany had discovered nuclear fission, the Americans were not quite happy. The physicists in America were not quite happy. They were upset. Nuclear fission, like there is fission in amoeba, and there are other organisms which have daughter cells by fission. So that's like nuclear fission. The atomic cells are separated, and there are two daughter cells which are born. Many of them had fled from fascism, just as Einstein had, and now they were afraid the Nazis could build and use an atomic bomb. So many of the scientists, they fled from fascism. Fascism is dictatorship. So they feared dictatorship in Germany, and then they shifted to another country, like Einstein had moved to US. And now they were afraid that the Nazis could build and use this atomic bomb. They were very much afraid. The Americans were very much afraid that they can use it to their advantage. They can use it to harm the other countries. Okay. So at the urging of a colleague, Einstein wrote a letter to the American president, the 32nd president of America, Franklin D. Roosevelt, also known as FDR, on 2nd August 1939, in which he warned a single bomb of this type exploded in a port might very well destroy the whole port together with some of the surrounding territory. So at the advice of a colleague is the person who works with you. So at the advice of the colleague, Einstein writes a letter to the then president of America, okay, Franklin D. Roosevelt, a very much loved president. So in that letter, he gave a warning that if this type of bomb is exploded in a port, so along with that port, the whole surroundings of the port, means the surrounding places, whether it's a village or the towns and cities, they would all be destroyed. His words did no fail to have an impact. That means they had a great impact on the president. The Americans developed the atomic bomb in a secret project of their own and dropped it on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945. Now, the Americans, when they got to know about the power of these atomic bombs, they secretly projected of their own. They secretly made these atomic bombs and then they attacked on the Japanese cities. As we all know, this attack was a very heinous one, and dropped it on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945, which till date has impact on the people who were affected at that time. Einstein was deeply shaken by the extent of the destruction and he was taken aback. He was astonished that I had written the letter so that the world could be protected from the heinous effect, from the fatal effect of these bombs. And what have the Americans done? This time he wrote a public letter to the United Nations. Missive is a public letter, like we write emails right now in the present time. At that time, they were public missive. That means the letter to the United Nations. United Nations, if you don't know, let me tell you, United Nations is the intergovernmental organization which works to maintain world peace and security. Okay, so he wrote a letter to United Nations, and in that letter he gave the idea, he gave the advice to form a world government. Unlike the letter to Roosevelt, this one made no impact. Now, this time something contrasting happened. This letter made no effect. It was ignored. But over the next decade, Einstein got ever more involved in politics. That means he was all the more involved in politics, agitating for an end to the arms buildup. Why did he enter into politics? What was his aim and objective? He was agitating. That means he stood up so that all the countries end the arms buildup. That means they do not build up any kind of weapons which can be fatal to life, and using his popularity to campaign for peace and democracy. And since he was very much popular all over the world, he was a Nobel Prize winner, he was very much popular, so he used to address campaigns whose objectives was to maintain peace and democracy. He wanted to have democracy all over the world. Since in Germany it was the rule of Nazis, it was the rule of Hitler, there was dictatorship. So he campaigned for peace and democracy all over the world. That was his aim to enter politics. When Einstein died in 1955 at the age of 76, he was celebrated as a visionary and world citizen as much as a scientific genius. So when his life ended at the age of 76, he was celebrated as a visionary. That means his life was cherished. His personality was cherished as a visionary because he could think beyond what other people could think in the present. He could think beyond present. He could foresee what the inventions which are done, the discoveries which are done in the present, what effect would they have in the future. So he was a visionary. Okay. And he was also celebrated as a world citizen as much as a scientific genius. So apart from being a genius scientist, he was celebrated as a world citizen because he did not only think about his own country, but he thought about the whole world. He thought about all the countries. He campaigned for peace and democracy. He didn't only think about his own country. His thoughts and his vision was not only limited to the boundary of his own country. That is why he was cherished and still is cherished. Even after so many years, he is still cherished as a world citizen, a great visionary, a Nobel laureate, and a genius scientist. Alright, I hope you must have loved reading about him. A great personality, Albert Einstein, whom people thought when he was a child that he's a freak, he is stupid, he cannot do anything in life, no matter what profession he enters into. That's what the headmaster had said. But as he grew up, he proved to the world that genius is not always showing an instant symbol. Your genius depends on your vision, what you think about, how you think about everything. All right. So go through the videos again, okay? And I hope you will be able to build up your own summary in your own words, okay?